Chapter 39, Part C, the Jesus Trilogy, Book 2, Then There Were Two. The kickoff again came Judas' way. This time he caught it, broke outside of the pack, and then eased back to the middle before being pulled down at the horseman 40. He came up a little gimpy, but didn't complain of any pain. Let's see what these guys got, he said upon returning to the huddle. 33 on Hut. The quick count pulled the entire left side of the All-Star line offside, and Judas rambled up the middle for 16 yards and a first down. The horseman took the 16 yards and began to methodically move down the field. Lefty kept it himself from the 7-yard line, but the attempted two-point conversion failed. 15-6. All-Stars in the lead. The All-Stars tacked on a field goal, but the horseman countered with a 12-yard run by Judas. The two-point conversion was good this time, and the first quarter came to an end with the horseman down 18-14. From behind the Luxo boxes, the exact same place he was 14 months earlier when he pocketed 10 million shekels, Ching smiled again. The spread was 11 points, and his boy and the horseman were only down by 4. With Mo on their side. The midday heat was absolutely oppressive this third day of July. Both players and fans were carried off the field with cases of sunstroke. Many of the players cramped up, including Johnny. Finally, Jesus was put back at the running back position to help out. At the coach's recommendation, Lefty now tried his hand at the new JFL offense, the veer. The horseman managed 2 field goals, and the defense got them a safety. The All-Stars, with Simon also cramping up, could only muster a field goal. Both teams limped into the locker room at halftime in a very weakened state. Horsemen 22, All-Stars 21. The water and the Dino Aid were consumed literally by the gallon at halftime. The stands emptied out completely as the people sought the shade of trees, buildings, or any structure nearby. Charisse worked on Johnny's knee, Judas' left ankle, and Jesus' left shoulder in turn. All the players had cooled, but all decided that early in the second half was the time to make hay. Neither the All-Stars nor the Horsemen were winning this day. The sun was. The Horsemen got the second half kickoff and began a methodically and precise ground attack against the weakened, semi-dehydrated All-Star defense. Johnny plowed over from the 4. The horseman converted the PAT, and it was now Horseman 29, All-Stars 21. The coaches had erected some temporary shade structures for the players out of the lath, and it did help a little, but the All-Stars were able to drive down the field against the withered Horseman defense and tie it up Ontario's quarterback draw from 9 yards out in his repeat performance on the PAT. It was now 29-29, and both teams were exhausted. Punts were exchanged on 7 consecutive 3-and-out series. With 4 minutes remaining in the game, still a deadlock, the All-Stars got the ball on their own 24-yard line. Simon, who had sat out the last series, now entered the game a little fresher than the others. He began to chew up yardage: 6, 11, 24, 9, 3, and 1, down to the Horseman 22-yard line. It was a second down and 9. The 2-minute warning sounded, and both teams went to the bench for a breather. In an unprecedented move, the officials allowed about 5 minutes to go by to rest everybody. The Horseman coach cried foul. Arrested Simon couldn't be stopped, but the officials were not to be swayed. They didn't want to be responsible if some player died during this game, and they all knew a few were close. Simon, as expected, powered around the left side in the very next play and roared into the end zone. Too weak to do his dance, he lay down in the end zone and extended both arms in the air to signal touchdown. Despite the 104-degree heat, the crowd went crazy. The PAT was good. It was now 36-29 in favor of the All-Stars, with 1:58 to play. The spread, initially 11 points, had inexplicably moved all the way down to 6 prior to the game, and not only Judas but also Ching's heart sank. Ching was now 65 years old and had been having some chest pains recently. His doctor called it angina, but Ching knew it was probably more serious and realized his days may be numbered. He had groomed Judas as his successor as senator on his payroll. Judas would portray his public image while Ab would take over the day-to-day operations of his immense financial empire. He had holdings extending from China all the way to Rome, from Carthage to Hispania. His son was no good. He had spent all his time in opium dens, and his daughter was back in China married to a Chinese priest. She prayed and meditated most every day and wanted nothing to do with the good life Ching could provide. Judas would make a good public figure as long as he didn't get into too many scandals, but Ching did not trust him completely, by any means. Judas, he had determined, was basically a dishonest person and could not be relied on in the business world. So Ab would inherit the business by default. Ab was a Hebrew, and though he had gotten along with Ching, there was a distance between them that could not be altered. Ching and Ab's father were close, but Ab and Ching were of a different ilk. Ching was a devout Buddhist, a strong believer in conservative thought. Ab was more liberal and willing to take what he called calculated risks. Ching wasn't sure that some of these risks might be miscalculated, but he had no choice. Now the chest pain began in earnest. Ching called for some opium pills, but they did little to ease his pain. He got up, nearly passed out, then lay down on the floor mat on his back and held his chest. As he stared up at the ceiling of the luxury box with its servant-driven fan, he began to dream, or at least he thought so. He first saw his mother. She was long dead, but she stood there on a beautiful sandy shore. Her lips moved, but he couldn't make out what she was saying. Then he saw his daughter next to her, chanting away as she was wont to do. Then he saw his son, smoking an ever-present pipe with his arms outstretched. He was pointing to a small green rowboat. How appropriate, Ching thought. Green was his favorite color. His dear departed wife was already in the boat. She whispered, "Come on, honorable husband, it's so peaceful over here." To his surprise, he walked over, got into the little boat with his beloved wife, Jolene, and the couple sailed slowly across the glimmering water towards paradise. Ab and the bodyguard covered Ching's lifeless, sweaty body with a linen tablecloth and turned back to watch the rest of the game. The All-Star kickoff carried down to the goal line, and Judas, weak as he was, promptly fumbled the ball. It was recovered by the All-Stars. On the next play, Simon lined up to take the handoff, but his hands were sweaty and the ball squirted loose. The Horseman defender scooped up the ball and advanced it out to the 33-yard line before Simon himself ran down the Horseman defender, using the defender's face mask to pull him down. The defender and the Horseman bench went crazy, but no penalty flag hit the ground. So, with 1:27 left, ball on their own 33, Lefty called, crossword 33 right. Judas and Johnny were to go over the middle and cross paths. Lefty would hit whoever was open. One of them surely would be, as they would cross so closely that defenders would inadvertently hit each other. The JFL had been cracking down on this type of play, but this was exhibition. However, though the play worked for 15 yards, a flag did hit the turf, calling it back. Now it was 1st and 20 on the Horseman 23. This time Lefty aired it out down the sideline, and Randy, the weak side receiver, took the pass in stride. He was pushed out at the 50. Now, with 48 seconds left, Barabbas hit Randy over the middle. His speed, despite the heat, netted 14 yards, and the ball now rested on the All-Star 36-yard line. "Let's try the draw," Johnny said. "It's the one thing they won't expect." "All right, but get back here quick if he doesn't get you a touchdown or out of bounds." "Right." "On 3. The heat was getting to all of them, and the center snapped the ball on 2. The The inevitable fumble was recovered by the determined Johnny on the 38-yard line. Okay, boys, 24 seconds. Let's do it, Lefty admonished. Let me try that draw again, Johnny pleaded. They'll never expect it now. Fellas, any other ideas? Lefty said, looking for approval. The coach on the sidelines had suffered heat stroke, so Lefty was doing all the play calling now. Surprisingly, Jesus was the one who said, "Yes, do it, Red. Do it for old Zach." Jesus knew the right button to push, and he now pushed hard. Okay, on to. That is two, Lefty repeated, trying to avert another disaster. Johnny hit the gaping hole on the right side of the line and burst into the prevent defense where no one was going to stop him. No one. The extra point tied it at 36. The few faithful Horseman fans were going delirious, not only from the heat, but from the touchdown by Big Red number 34. This one was going to overtime.